Welcome lords and ladies, I am the Mighty Gammon and today we embark on a journey into Norway, home of the Norways or something. The game began with an acid trip that made me wonder if I was actually playing Assassin's Creed, or if I had just taken some shrooms and had a hallucination of myself buying it. I began the game as a child at a party in a king's longhouse. This was great fun because I got to dance with my inferiors, hear people say names I could never hope to pronounce, and be socially responsible by not drinking any ale. I was the designated driver, after all. After losing both my parents in an unfortunate mining accident which was no one's fault, we rode off to give my horse some exercise. She went for a swim, abandoning me to a rabid wolf attack that was so scary the universe had a stroke and started glitching out. Then I made the heartless decision to be a binary white male who had aged 18 years, which I apologise for, but there's no turning back now. My first moments as an adult consisted of pulling off some premium Pirates of the Caribbean escape moves and freeing myself from slavers, after which point I was tasked with tracking down my crew who had also been captured. The starting island was only a fraction of the map, but it was so gorgeous to fly over that it cured my depression. However, being up so high as a bird replaced that feeling with anxiety. I guess you can't win them all. I wanted to test out the stealth mechanics on an enemy soldier, so I assaulted him loudly in broad daylight with my axe. Stealth. The cold was starting to get through the very thin rags I was wearing, so when I stumbled upon a homestead I had to take refuge. I realised the homeowner wasn't in, so naturally I smashed up every item in the house to find 1 or 2 pieces of silver and a bucket that somehow fit in my pocket. Shortly afterwards I noticed that I could draw lines in the snow by moving about, so I created an SOS signal for my fellow Vikings showing that I needed help. I hope someone gets the message soon. Turns out I didn't need to call for help because my fellow crewmate Dag was already clapping cheeks in the wilderness. The man is an absolute unit. I can definitely tell he isn't going to become a whining nuisance later on. I discovered the location of my captive crew, but quickly realised that I could not cheese the mission by marking every enemy and their mother with my raven. Despite being devastated by the fact I now had to actually play the game to win, I felt relief at the fact it didn't want to hold my hand. It reminded me of every woman I've tried to chat up outside the Wetherspoons toilet. After making my way to the longhouse unnoticed, I slipped through an opening in the roof. I was really starting to feel like an assassin who was also a Viking. A Viking assassin. An ass king, for short. Then I had to fight the leader of the settlement to free my crew. The man was a mad bastard with a double-sided war axe, so I thought I was done for. However, I didn't take a single hit because it turns out all I had to do was dodge and parry easily readable attacks. It is settled. I am already the best player at Valhalla confirmed. Hopefully when they turn this game into an esport, I will win hundreds of thousands of Ugandan dollars in the Viking rap battle tournaments. Once I killed him, I was suddenly overwhelmed with guilt and started hallucinating. I opened my eyes to a man and his wolf staring at me, then beckoning me to follow them. I had not experienced any negative consequences of following an old man and his dog around the park where I lived before, so I decided it was an agreeable option. I felt betrayed because on the other side of the door there were several men who wanted to kill me. Using my epic gamer skills, I managed to kill all the enemies to death and escape to my longship. And like most Vikings, I wanted to be a rebel, so I went out looking for ways to increase my carbon footprint. Take that, scientists. I attacked some people on the shore, but I could hear Anakin Skywalker crying in the distance when one of the Vikings tried to throw sand at me. How inconsiderate of him. I bet his mother would be very upset to hear about his behavior. Oh, Anakin, I didn't mean that, I'm so sorry. I ran into some wolves on the shore, but in the middle of the fight I noticed my crew were firing arrows from the ship to assist me. Not only was this bombardment extremely inaccurate, but it showed that the crew didn't care if they killed their captain with a stray arrow. Needless to say, none of them were having any ale or mutton tonight. Taking in the beautiful panoramic view of the bay was an experience that I couldn't enjoy for long because I realised I had left the oven on back home. As I hurried back to turn it off, I came across Stavanger. The town was breathtaking and full of things to do. These Vikings were blissfully unaware that in only about 1,000 years they would be swimming in oil money and the price of an ale would be the weekly wage of someone in Birmingham. I was lucky to have come across this town because I ran into an old acquaintance who just so happened to be selling my family's possessions while passing them off as blessed relics. This had quickly turned into can't pay and will take it away, only this time I was the bailiff instead of the man who couldn't pay his council tax due to spending the money on a crate of horse tranquilizer and an Adidas tracksuit. All this repossession made me rather thirsty, so I went for a beer near the docks. It wasn't until I had half the town cheering me on that I realised I had inadvertently entered a drinking contest with a random woman. I don't know why I was being applauded, this is how I normally drink my ale. Now that I was suitably drunk, it was time to approach people in the town to tell them I love them. I stumbled upon a sparring match and was asked to help whip these useless fighters into shape for an old friend's crew. I lost. I recreated the Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly feud by spitting some of the sickest bars Norway had ever seen.
Have you ever seen muscles as massive as mine?
What you make up in muscles, you're lacking in spine.
Putting Jay-Z to shame increased my charisma to level 2. I think I was finally ready to lay down some pickup lines on that hot piece from my village. How could she resist me saying, "Hey, are you the goddess Freya? Because have sex with me." Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.